Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on the time you get to watch this. Welcome to another of my philosophical challenging ideas that I think everyone should know. Today we are dealing with philosophy of sport. Why do human beings care so much about games? I want you to think about it. Imagine this. A football match begins, 22 players chase a ball across the field. Millions watch across the world. Millions cheer. Millions suffer. Millions laugh. Millions celebrate. When the match ends, nobody has discovered a cure for cancer. Nobody has solved poverty. Nobody has built a bridge. Nobody has produced food. And yet, people cry. They celebrate. They lose sleep. They travel across continents. They paint their faces. They spend fortunes. Why? Why do human beings care so much about games? At first glance, sport seems trivial. A game, a pastime, entertainment. But if sports were merely entertainment, it would not occupy such a powerful place in human life. Think about the World Cup, the Olympics, the Champions League, the Super Bowl, rugby, any major boxing matches. Entire nations stop and watch. Political leaders attend. History remembers champions. Children imitate athletes. Clearly, something deeper is happening in games. One philosopher described sport as war without killing. Think about it. Human beings are naturally competitive creatures. We compare, we compete, we strive, we want to win. In earlier centuries, those impulses often express themselves through actual conflict. Today, they are often channeled into sport. Instead of armies meeting on the battlefields, teams meet on the playground. Instead of violence deciding superiority, the rules decide superiority. Sports transform conflict into competition. But another mystery remains. Why do people care so much about teams they do not play for? Why do we care for teams that are even in far land of? Fans say we won, yet the fan never touched the ball, never entered the stadium, never trained with the team. So why say we? Because sport allows people to become part of something larger than themselves. They become part of a city, a nation, a community, an identity. The victory of the team becomes the victory of the fan. The defeat of the team becomes the defeat of the fan. Sport becomes a collective identity. Some philosophers argue that sport is also a form of projection. Many people dream of greatness. Few become world-class athletes. So, we attach ourselves to those who achieve what we admire. Strength, speed, skill, courage, excellence. Those things are things that we admire. Those things are things that are exemplified by sportsmen. And so we project our desire for those things to the players. And maybe that's why we love sports, because it makes us to achieve the emotions of a thing that we would like or we can't. We would love to kick the ball, but we are not able to do it the way Cristiano does it. We would love to run like Kipchoge, but we can't. So we project ourselves on them. The athlete becomes the symbolic extension of ourselves. We see them, we see in them what we wish we could become. And for a moment, as we watch the game, as we cheer, as we celebrate, their victory feels like our victory. And that is why sports, maybe, that's why we love the games. The ancient Greeks loved sport for a different reason. They believed sport revealed human excellence. What can the question that the Greeks asked themselves as they went for sports is, what can the human body do? How fast can it run? How high can it jump? How much can it endure? Sports became an exploration of the human potential, not merely an entertainment. That was sports for the Greeks. But this was a celebration of what disciplined effort can achieve. That's what the Greeks believed about sports. Now consider boxing or a mixed martial arts. Two human beings enter a ring. They attempt to strike each other. Millions watch. And this raises an uncomfortable question. Does our fascination with combat reveal that we are fundamentally violent creatures? Think of Mike Tyson taking out people in less than a minute and how we admire him. Perhaps partly it's because we are actually violent creatures. Human beings, we possess aggressive instincts. Evolution did not remove them. In fact, most of the people who think they are not violent, it's because they do not have the strength to realize violence. And so they take up to assume that they are not violent. But as human beings, we are very violent. Look at how violent you get in a situation where you have the means and resources to exercise the violence. Evolution did not actually remove from us the instincts to violence. But sport transforms those instincts, into something that we can now participate in. The fight in the ring occurs within rules, and so we love it. We have a referee, we have weight classes, there's a time limit, there's mutual consent. The goal is not to murder. The goal is the mastery of discipline, skill, courage under pressure, and those are the things that we admire. What fascinates spectators is often not the violence itself in the game. It is the controlled violence, the triumph of discipline over chaos. As I record this video, Vurugu 2 is going to take place tomorrow at the Sarit Expo. Gashau and Phil will be taking on each other, and this is driving fans to start betting on who is going to win. The triumph of discipline is what we are going to witness tomorrow. Now, have you ever noticed that losing actually hurts, even when nothing important is at stake? A game ends, life should continue, yet disappointment feels real. Why? Because sports compresses life into a simplified form of effort, risk, failure, success, perseverance, sacrifice. And these things are really important to us. Sport mirrors life itself. That's why victories feel meaningful and defeats feel very painful. Perhaps the deepest insight about sport is this: human beings do not live by survival alone. If survival were enough, nobody would play games. Nobody would climb mountains. Nobody would run marathons. Nobody would attempt world records. Human beings seek meaning. And that's why we go for challenges. That's why we seek achievement, excellence. Sports provide us a stage upon which those aspirations can be actualized. The philosophy of sports reveals that games are not just about the games. They are about competition, identity, community, discipline, excellence, and what it means to be human. That's why football match can unite a nation. That's why boxing match can capture millions. And that's why sports matters. In the next time you watch a match, ask yourself, are you merely watching a game, or are you watching humanity perform one of the oldest games, the pursuit of excellence against resistance? Hope you've enjoyed another of my video on philosophical challenging ideas that I think everyone should know.